Good evening. I'd like to call the second regular meeting of council of the town of Maple Creek to order at 6:31 p.m. Present is Mayor Michelle McKenzie, Councilors Abbott, Beretta, Barkman, Clora, and Wirtz. Absent is Councilor Creswell. Staff present is CAO Barry Elliott and Executive Assistant Danielle Willie. Can I have a motion that council hereby approves the agenda of the second regular meeting of council of the town of Maple Creek held on January 22nd, 2025, as amended to include items number 15.8, SUMA proposed resolution? Thank you, Councilor Abbott. Seconder, Councilor Beretta. All in favor? Carried. We have the strategic map. Is anything coming from any of the updates? Does anybody, go ahead, Councilor Clora.
I'm just wondering what was updated on it. I couldn't tell the difference.
Go ahead.
Madam Mayor, in actual fact, there was nothing updated from the last one. I'm just trying to keep the current information as current as I can.
Okay. Okay, anybody declaring a conflict of interest? So it takes us to 6.1. Can I have a motion that council hereby approves the minutes from the first regular meeting of council held on January 8th, 2025 as presented? Thank you, Councilor Barkman. Seconder, Councilor Wirtz. All in favor? Carried. So we have no proclamations, presentation, delegations. Takes us down to number 10, communications for information only. Takes us down to 10.1. The CPKC Transport Canada Protection Direction. Does anybody have any conversation or anything on that? Go ahead, Councilor Barkman.
I just wanted to, and I know that this was in a while back, that we actually had I'm not sure if it was CPKC at that time, but we had a representative here from them that was very, very helpful in explaining a lot of things. And I know we had talked about possibly having somebody come to inform the public about some things so that they would know more about, like even we've been talking about the train whistle, to actually have them give some things as to how they see it and how that would actually work. So I don't know whether that's something because I think it would be beneficial for them to actually hear from them as opposed to from us, to what the regulations actually are with trains coming through town. Because I have residents asking me all the time about, okay, what's, how come they're doing this and that, and I think it would be beneficial, it would be educational for them if we did, because I know we did talk about possibly bringing somebody in from there. So
Great. So do you want them as a delegation at a council meeting, or do you think, because, we usually have a town hall meeting, and I'm hoping we're moving forward with that after we do the budget. And is that something that we have them come as a speaker during the presentation when we delivered the budget or the town hall meeting?
I think that would probably be, because I think it would be better to do that, as far as, because I think there'd be interest out there for that. If they knew that we've got a representative here, to have it at a town hall meeting, I think would be very beneficial.
Great, thank you. Councilor Beretta?
Will the meeting that you're talking about, will that be live streamed?
No, it's usually at the Armories, and we kind of like an open house. Everybody comes and...
Yeah, I'm just wondering if more people would view the council meetings rather than come in person. Have somebody come speak here. There's quite a few people that watch this.
There is, yes. Go ahead, Councilor Clora.
Is this something that we requested of them for information, or do they provide it regularly or semi-regularly?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. They do provide it on an annual basis. It's up to the emergency coordinator whether it gets released or not. And of course, as council's made it very clear, you want to be as informative to the public as you can. So thus it's included on your agenda.
Any other conversation? Thoughts about in-person or live streamed? Go ahead, Councilor Abbott.
I like the idea of a town hall, and I think if we were to compile it as perhaps a safety town hall, where we have them, we've talked about doing some stuff with the RCMP, maybe have someone from EMS, and doing something that's going to, I guess, catch a few more people's attention.
Okay.
It would be nice to focus it that way.
Okay. Perfect. All right. Any other conversation? Okay. Seeing none. Takes us to 10.2. Can I have a motion that council, that the communications recorded as items number 10.1 be filed and received? Thank you, Councillor Barkman. Second, Councillor Clora. All in favor? Carried. Takes us down to 11.1, payments of accounts. Can I have a motion that council hereby approves the payments of totaling $2,196.34 for checks numbers 1968 to 1973 as listed on Schedule A, $17,565.45 for checks numbers 1974 to 1976 as listed on Schedule B, $291,585.60 for checks numbers 1977 to 2016 as listed on Schedule C, attached to and forming part of these minutes. Thank you, Councillor Clora. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Wertz. Does anybody have any questions within their accounts? Go ahead, Councillor Parkman.
Just was looking at the, again, I've been looking at the power bill at some of it, Lagoon there, and the blower building, and it's actually is up a little this month. And the amount is for this, I mean, it's been since December till now, the month, and it was $4,766. And so I just did a rough calculation of that. If that's what it is every month, you know, we're looking at just the blower building itself for power is $57,000. So, I mean,
57,000 a month?
no, for the whole year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
And does
if-
that
if-
include the PST, GST,
No,
and the
it
carbon
doesn't.
tax?
No, it didn't include that.
Okay.
No.
Go ahead, Councillor Beretta.
I just didn't understand what why there's a refund for a customer for Midwest surveys. What's that have to do with the town doing a refund through another company?
Madam Mayor, I will have to take a look at that one. I know that I've seen these in the past when we've requested that they get a survey done as part of either a rezoning or a property purchase or the like, but I don't know the specifics on this one. I'll have to find it. I'll report back.
Thank you. And Councillor Berkman, I know we've been discussing this for a matter of a couple years, the power at the lagoon. And I really would like administration to have some, do some investigation on what we can do with solar or something else to bring that down. Because we did ask for that too. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Councillor Abbott.
I just have it's a small report on the carbon tax is just $703.38.
Not bad. Go ahead, Councillor Clara.
Forgive my ignorance, but I'm just wondering, sorry, I'm wondering, what is a blower building?
So when you
I'm
go out,
sorry.
no, so when you go out, so our new Sager system is a 3-part system at our lagoon. So we have 1, 2, and 3, which the Sager system, once it goes through all the filtration and comes out, you should be able to drink that water from our lagoon system. Yes, that's how it's supposed to be able to clean, and you should be able to drink it. So the building is what contains all the mechanical and everything else that needs to power to run those 3 cells. Actually, there's 4, because there's the dirty one, 1, 2, and 3 in the Sager that comes in, discharges into the creek. And we had to actually, to be compliant, because in the past, you used to be able to take an average of 12 months to be compliant, and for the ministry. They changed that to be compliant a month. So of course we were over our recommended numbers to be compliant. So then that's why we had to look at having a new upgraded to our lagoon system. And so we then went into the Sager system. So again, lots of lessons learned with the Sager system because the unexpected cost of the power wasn't calculated into that, right? It's more efficient. We're able to discharge into the creek because we continuously discharge. However, we have some additional costs that is quite high, as $57,000 for the year.
So the blower building is part of the Sager's?
Yes, to be able to run it. Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Abbott.
So is it possible, and perhaps administration can help us with that, to talk to someone, another municipality that has the same system, to see what their bills are, to see if ours are in line
Yeah.
with that? And if not, then maybe there's something else, somewhere else to look.
Absolutely. Anything else? Go ahead, Councillor Wertz.
I was just gonna ask, maybe there's something like one of those inline heaters or anything like that boosting the cost of power during the winter, or no? It's
Again,
maybe something to look into.
it is, like, there's numerous things that can be looked at, so that's why we're given direction to, because this has been concerning for the last 2 years, actually. Yeah, so, okay. Anything else? All in favor? Carried. Okay. 11.2. Can I have a motion that council hereby accepts the bank reconciliation and the statement of financial activity for the month of December 2024 as presented? Thank you, Council Barkman. Seconder? Thank you, Council Warts. Does anybody have any questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay, takes us down to number 12, 12.1. Can I have a motion that council hereby accepts the report of the Chief Administrative Officer dated January 22nd, 2025 as presented? Thank you, Council Beretta. Seconder? Thank you, Council Clora. Would you like to speak on your report?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I won't expand on what I've written unless there's any questions of council on that, but I do have a few updates for council's information, for the community's information. Firstly, I just wanted to inform everyone that the swimming pool supervisor posting closes on Friday of this week at 4 o'clock. Thus far, we only have one application that we've received, so I'm hopeful that we'll see more activity between now and then. And I would note that if in fact the posting closes and we are not successful in attracting suitable applicants, I will be moving ahead then at the earliest opportunity, intending next week, on the posting of a contract position for the role. And I'm also going to reach out to some of our local resources regarding any potential staffing options they may be aware of that I am not presently aware of. So I'll be looking to do that. Tomorrow, Jillian and I are meeting with Core Geomatics to discuss the contents of the draft zoning bylaw. I know that there's been conversations about that. We want to fine tune it a bit before it's presented to council. On Tuesday, January 28th, at 6 o'clock, there will be a special council meeting held to begin the budget process. So the public notice on that meeting has now been released, and so the people will have information on that. And I'm a little ahead of the game on this last item, but I just wanted to note that we have also booked on the 2nd of April, the Saskatchewan Common Ground Alliance has booked a free Dig Safe breakfast at the Armory. It is intended for contractors and vendors, people that are involved in the construction industry and the digging industry, essentially. The last time this event was held in Maple Creek was in 2019. And just little bit of information about the organization. They bring together resources that are all relevant to this industry. It's a non-profit organization. It's dedicated to promoting safety and effective prevention practices in anything excavation related. So the town, of course, we are doing that on an ongoing basis, so we are active participants with that association. And they also maintain a very close association with Sask First Call. So we're looking forward to seeing them back in town. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Any questions on the report? Go ahead, Council Parkman.
Just in regards to the pool, and I know we had talked about this a while back, but I think we had heard that Adrian did have some kind of a time-lapse video of something of when it had started, and I'm wondering, I guess I'm just trying to think of getting people actually excited about where we're at and as far as where we've come from, like as far as when it started to the digging to actually where we are now. Because I think, if I remember correctly, somebody said he did have a time-lapse of that. So I'm wondering if that'd be something that we could post on media for people to be able to view that, because I think that would be, might people get more excited about it even to say, hey, we want to be part of that.
Madam Mayor, I could reach out to Blue Hills Construction and see what they can provide. I understand that they're continuing to do this, and they will into the spring when the Paradise Pools is back to complete the work. We'll see even more. But to this point in time, it's really an interesting little video. So I'll have that conversation with Adrian.
Perfect. Any other questions? All in favor? Carried. Okay, takes us down to 13.1, or 13 is committee reports. 13.1 is the Maple Creek Community Fire Department Committee meeting minutes. Anybody have any questions or concerns with that? None. So then again is 13.2. This is the Safety and Governments Committee minutes. And I don't have a resolution for that.
You don't need one, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
That's been approved by the committee. It's just here for the public's information.
Okay. Does anybody have anything coming out of those Governance and Safety Committee meetings? So then it takes us down, no unfinished business, takes us down to new business. So 15.1, can I have a motion that council hereby authorizes the renewal of a 3-year commitment with a donation of $500 per year from 2025 to 2027 to the Great Plains College Entrance Scholarship Fund as recommended in a report dated January 16th, 2025 by Carrie Chabot, Deputy CAO. Thank you, Council Berkman. Seconder, Council Warts. Any conversation? Go ahead, Council Berkman.
I can't say enough about Great Plains College and that we have that opportunity here. I mean, I know numerous students that are actually going there, and what they have saved, even having gone somewhere else as far as money-wise for being able to do it here locally and live at home. I think it is just so worthwhile for us to have this in the community. Like I said, I really appreciate what they do there at Great Plains.
Perfect. Thank you, Council Warts.
I was just wondering, like with prices going up everywhere, is 500 a year substantial, or would 600 a year be better? Or I just figured I'd bring that to the table.
Absolutely. It's a good conversation. I know that this money here that we provide is matching grant, so $1,000, and it stays within our community. So anybody of our students that are taking anything through Great Plains College is able to access this scholarship. So it's a good point. Does anybody want to change the price from 500 to 6, or where are you thinking? Go ahead, Councilor Abbott.
I was thinking along the same lines, and I'm wondering, it says it's renew a 3-year commitment, and so it's $500 a year. Mm-hmm. And so how long has it been $500 a year?
It's been $500 a year since before I became the mayor.
It's time to increase it.
Go ahead.
Well, Madam Mayor, if the mover and seconder would like that as a friendly amendment.
Okay. Okay. We're good for 600? All in favor? Carried. Okay. Could I have a motion that council hereby approves the request for an extension of time to complete the exterior finishes on the dwelling located at 44 Murraydale Crescent until May 31st, 2025, as recommended by the Governance and Safety Committee from its meeting held on January 16th, 2025. Thank you, Councilor Abbott. Second, Councilor Clora. Any conversation? All in favor? Carried. Okay, 15.3. Can I have a motion that council hereby agrees to waive the Armory rental fee of $250 for the 2025 Dig Safe Breakfast, which is scheduled to be held on April 2nd, 2025, as requested by the Saskatchewan Common Ground Alliance in its correspondence of January 16th, 2025. Thank you, Councilor Warts. Seconder. Thank you, Councilor Berkman. Any conversation? Go ahead, Councilor Abbott.
I've been to these before, obviously, not for a while. And they were at the Legion. And the only thing I would raise is, are we taking something away from the Legion? I know, I don't know how it's came to be a request for us. And I don't want to see us as
Taking
competing
revenue away.
revenue with them, because I know all the years I went, it was at the Legion.
Yes. Do you know if there is a booking that is conflict of that? Because usually they do that, yeah.
Madam Mayor, I don't know the history of their efforts to get one. I can certainly reach out to them and inquire about why they've chosen the Armory.
Okay.
I'll make a point of doing that.
So,
Would you like to table this?
yes, please. Okay. Okay, moving on to 15.4. Can Can I have a motion that council hereby approves the live stream of council meetings policy number G01-2025 as recommended by the Governance and Safety Committee from its meeting held on January 16th, 2025? Thank you, Councilor Beretta. Seconder, Councilor Clora. Any conversation? Go ahead, Councilor Wards.
I was just kind of wondering, is this coming in because people didn't know that it was being streamed live when they came here or something of that effect, or it's just?
No, one of the things that we do as a governing body is to make sure that we have policy to follow. So if there was something that was to come out of live streaming or anything that comes through there, that's our policy. So then we can amend or to do, it's just good operating procedure. Did you have something to say?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. There are certainly obligations within legislation for informing people when things of this nature are happening so that they're aware. So this is just an opportunity now, as the mayor indicated, to create policy that's going to be fluid. As the regulations and circumstances change, we would be bringing forward revisions to this policy if needed. But it's good to have that foundation for how it's being done and being done properly.
Okay, all in favor? Carried. So 15.5. Can I have a motion that council hereby authorizes on a without prejudice basis the town of Maple Creek staff to replace the sewer line service, the residence located at 512 Cypress Street under the following conditions. The sewer line is to be replaced shall be the portion of the line between the sewer main and the house foundation, and the sewer line shall be replaced by the town of Maple Creek at the earliest opportunity following the 2025 spring thaw, and all costs for this replacement shall be reimbursed to the town of Maple Creek by the property owner, and a reasonable payment schedule not to exceed 1 year may be entered into between the parties, and the property owner must agree in writing to waive their right and the right of future owners of this property to hold the town of Maple Creek liable for any damages incurred as a result of the failure, now or in the perpetuity of the sewer line as recommended by the Governance and Safety Committee from its meeting held on January 16th, 2025. Thank you, Councilor Barkman. Second, Councilor Beretta. Any conversation? Go ahead, Councilor Clora.
I think when we had talked about this at our committee meeting, we were talking about getting some additional information on the house portion of the line. Do you know if that was done?
Yes, I had spoke with the homeowners, and they were going to do that at their earliest convenience, and they're going to get us that report. Yeah. Any other conversation? All in favor? Carried. Okay, 15.6. Can I have a motion council hereby accepts the offer made by SAMA in correspondence dated January 15th, 2025 to meet with council to explain the 2025 assessment and that administration be directed to coordinate this meeting at its earliest opportunity? Thank you, Councilor Abbott. Second, Councilor Beretta. Any conversation? Go ahead, Councilor Abbott.
So I'm still not clear, have we got, because I see somewhere there's a PDF format, detailed property report are included in a PDF format. Do we have access to that here at this office yet?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councillor, I will need to follow up with Ms. Chabot. I would assume it's available. They've indicated it is. So with that, I'll make sure that it gets distributed to council and that it gets perhaps put onto your next agenda so that the public have access as well.
Great. Go ahead, Councilor Clora.
I was just going to ask the same thing. It sounds like they may have some statistical data on how many properties may be increased and how many decreased, and I'd be interested in seeing that if there's anything available.
Great. Councilor Wards.
I was just kind of going to bring up that where if somebody's disputing what their taxes went up, then they can still do that. That's what I was being asked.
Yes, once the council, the roll has been opened and the assessments has been out, then they'll have, because it's a reevaluation year, they'll have 60 days to appeal their assessment. Any other conversation? So we will set that up, probably middle of March, end of February, middle of March. I know there's lots coming in February with the spring break and all the stuff that's going through there. So if they can come in. Any other conversation? All in favor? Carried. Okay, so 15.7. Can I have a motion, council hereby authorize the following individuals to attend the 2025 Waste Reform Conference being held at Regina, May 28th to May 30th, with all expenses paid in accordance with the current town of Maple Creek policy? Before I make that, is there anybody, everybody's had the chance to look at that? Is there anybody, any council members that are able to attend or want to attend?
I'm seriously thinking about it.
Okay. Okay, anybody else? So then we'll have Councillor Barkman, Lynn Medium, a manager of environmental services, all in, or
Just the two.
just the two, yep. So I have Councillor Wertz making the motion, seconder. Thank you, Councillor Beretta. All in favor? Carried. 15.8, I would love to go, but I think I'll be at FCM that week, so. Can I have a motion that council hereby authorizes the SUMA resolution redirect municipal PST for construction labor paid to infrastructure grant program to be submitted to SUMA for consideration in its upcoming 2025 convention, and that administration be directed to include the necessary background information to support this resolution? Thank you, Councillor Beretta. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Wertz. Any conversation? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay, it takes us down to Mayor and Councillors Forum. Okay, let's start off with Councillor Colorado. What do you have?
So I attended the Saskatchewan Provincial Disaster Assistance Program, known as PDAP, in Swift Current on the 15th. And it was very informational. It was definitely from an administrative perspective. So there wasn't a lot of hands-on, this is how we deal with it. It's like, this is the paperwork that you file. So it was it's very interesting for what an administrator would have to go through. But it was less practical for myself as a
So
counselor.
did they have a chance to be able to have any feedback on that? Like for what would happen or what stuff would be in line with that a counselor would need to do? Or do you feel that it's just completely directed for administration?
I feel like it was more, I mean, maybe the two of you could speak to that as well, but it was definitely more on the administrative side. Because we are not the ones filling out the paperwork, and a lot of the administration has to come from the CAO. I felt like it's not a lot for us. It was sort of geared toward, this is what the CAO does, and this is how he would get the information out to our people to file a claim. So that was basically what it was about, I felt. There was
Okay.
a little more here and there, but
Sure.
yeah, that was the bulk of it.
All right.
And then I also attended the Governance and Safety Committee meeting on the 16th, so.
Thank you. Councillor Berkman.
Right, I had my first opportunity to attend the Maple Creek Arena Board on the 13th of January, and yes, thank you. Okay.
We'll get used to this, yeah.
We're good. Okay. I was able to attend the Arena Board on January 13th, and I do have to say, first of all, is that we have a good board in place there. And I was really pleased to be there. And we had a great meeting together, and I guess there was one thing that came out of that I'm basically just going to report about, and that was that, and I think we've talked about it here too, is that the insurance on the arena requires that the building be looked at twice a week. During this time of the year, it's not a problem for them to do that, but it's during the summertime that there's not always somebody around. So they were just requesting to see whether that would be something that the town might be able to look after to help them with, as far as to be able to do that inspection that happens twice a week. So they were just asking to bring that here, and just to see whether that would be something that we'd be interested in, or we could help them with. So again, there's a lot happening there. There's a lot of people involved there, and they do a lot of stuff. And so it's just really, I was glad to there's a lot of wheels turning there, and I'm glad to hear how they're keeping that going for us as a town. And I'm just really, really thankful that they are doing that. So I was also able to attend the rural municipality, the Maple Creek, the municipality, the committee meeting for the fire department. And we, again, as those of you that were there last night, the new fire truck is here, which I think we are all excited about. And it's a tremendous accomplishment that I think the town has made. And as I was there last night, I couldn't help but think of it, because I've been a volunteer firefighter for a number of years. And I have to say that we have an absolutely top-notch, as far as, not only do we have top-notch firefighters, but we have some absolutely top-notch equipment that we have, especially adding this to our fleet. It is absolutely phenomenal. So I'm glad for our firefighters that they have equipment like this, that they can actually do that for us, and they can actually protect our community. And I think even some of them, they came and they said to me yesterday, they said, thank you very much. So, I mean, but it's a joint effort, it's a community thing, and so I'm glad to see that. One of the things that we discussed at our meeting was we actually had a delegation there from Big Stick. And Big Stick is looking to set up a service agreement with us. Now, a service agreement is different than a mutual aid agreement. Mutual aid, we have mutual aid agreements with numerous different communities that if they call on us, we go. But a service agreement is actually, they're part of us. And so there's some discussion that was had around the table as to what that all would involve, what that would look like. And they're in the process of kind of drawing some things out, and I'm showing it to them and say, what does that look like to you? So I think it's good. I mean, one of the things that we did look at is if you think of how far to the north here it is, it's actually closer to the edge of Big Stick going north than it is to the southern part of our municipality. So it does make sense that we have some type of an agreement with them, and they're very willing to want to do that. And so we're glad to see that, and I think that it's something that's feasible for us to do. So I think coming up, we'll be looking at a service agreement with that and what that actually is all going to look like. So I really can't even say what that's necessarily going to be. But anyway, just so that you know that they are doing that, and I'm glad to see that other municipalities around us, they are looking to us for that because of what we have and what we have to offer, right? And so I think that's key. That's really good. So again, I'm just so thankful for a great fire department that we have here that basically protects our community and a large community all around us. And so I think that's it. Yeah.
All right, thank you. Councilor Beretta.
Okay. Well, I attended the committee meeting on January 16th, and yesterday got to see the fire truck. And I agree with Councillor Barkman. I've been to some communities, and the fire hall, the equipment, the vehicles, they're kind of run down and old. And we have quite a few firefighters. I didn't realize we had so many, so that was really nice to see. I got a phone call from Pastor Hans Martins, and he wanted to let me know that so on June 8th, the high school is going to be putting on a cultural event, and they would like the town to be involved in some way. I know that's a long ways away, but he said that they envision separate, different classrooms being kind of assigned to different cultural groups, like Hutterites in one and First Nations in another, and different, whoever, they have like 6 in mind. And they're thinking about having food and people visiting each classroom and asking questions. So yeah, they don't exactly know how they would like the town to be involved, but some way.
So I guess if a request like that comes to you personally, the best response is great in reporting that, but ask them to then send in a request that comes to Wards Council, so then we can put that to a committee meeting and have that conversation.
I did. I told him that it would have to come more formally, but I said I'll pass it on that you're interested, and we're, always more than happy to be involved in things in the community, but we'll need more information, more details, and things like that.
Great.
So that should come. Maybe it will, I don't know, we'll see. And I had somebody ask me, I've been sort of advocating for the Voyant app, and someone had said to me, you know, I liked that app until I started getting alerts on there that weren't emergency alerts, like a change in the parade route. And I said, oh, I didn't even realize that had gone up. So just wondering if maybe we should keep it strictly emergency alerts, because they were saying they want to get rid of it because it was becoming annoying with information like that.
Well, that's too bad, because again, that is a great way that is just within our community to get communication out. Because again, that might be just one person's view of that, which is unfortunate that they would want to get rid of an app because they're getting informed of what is happening within their community. I, however, feel that that is one thing that we know we can reach everybody at and how those things are, but I get maybe a parade route isn't the number one priority that could go on Voyant, but it is another way of communicating that everybody gets it, that is signed up, that is interested in communication with the town of Maple Creek.
Yeah, I see that, but I actually agreed with her. I thought, you know what, it's not just a social media newspaper program. The way I thought it was for alerts, for something that's serious, something that, yeah, that's what I thought. I mean, where do you draw the line?
Well, you would draw the line. Communication is communication, it's open communication, transparency.
So then job ads are gonna go out on that?
No.
And no, see, that's where I think there needs to be some clear,
Policy?
yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Any,
That is all for now, thank you.
okay. Council Wards, what do you have?
I was at the, what they call it, PDAP, the Provincial Disaster Assistance Program there. I guess it was mostly for administrative, but it did have some things where if a disaster happens, what do you do? What's the role of the mayor or deputy mayor? How do you arrange council? It pretty much is something that if a natural disaster comes about and insurance doesn't cover it, they will come in. It's not everything they'll cover. They will do training programs as well. Like, I think her name is Jen. She said that they'd come to town here and do something for maybe the town workers or whatnot if they're interested. Just something to help out a little bit. They do come help with like cleanup and stuff like that. I did attend the fire hall yesterday as well. Some of the people were excited about it, saying that the one truck actually replaces two of the older trucks, so that's a good thing. I also attended a mental health and addictions group through SUMA, and they pretty much talked about different things like homelessness, which we don't really have here, I don't think, but different little programs to support people around. They're talking about a community-based organization for housing, since housing prices are through the roof and there's hard to find rentals here in town as well. Little help groups to help people that are having mental health or addictions problems and stuff like that. So I just thought it was kind of an interesting thing to be a part of, and that's about it for me.
All right, thank you. Councillor Abbott?
So I attended the Hub Steering Committee meeting, and they're working on getting incorporation done, still working on that, still working on the website and branding. They will have the soft launch, I guess, of the website going pretty quickly. And they are looking for pictures, and I think they've got some from us. I think Jillian did get some to them. And preparing for getting open as early as they can in the spring. They did have a few little, I got the email today, a few little items that they would like us to look at before opening. They weren't huge, a huge list of things that they would like us to look at before they get open. And then applications are available for the pop-up stores, and so Maple Creek has room for 3 pop-up stores, and so if anyone's interested, it still does go to an adjudication kind of program as to how they're gonna
Where would they find that information, or who did they send it
Well,
to?
I did get a copy of it. I think I forwarded it to Jillian, but I'd have to check. If not, they can contact the supervisor out there and get them, or, I mean, there's even message through the.
So
through
do you
the
feel
Facebook
that
page.
we should put that on our Facebook and also our electronic sign?
Well, maybe electronic sign. I thought that I had forwarded it to Jillian, but maybe not in a way that she could put it on the Facebook page. I'm not sure. I will check on that.
Okay.
I just thought of it today that I maybe didn't send it in the right format for her. So I will check on that. And then I also attended the PDAP meeting, and I did take a few things away that were more for council. And it would have pertained, I guess, a bit more in the RM than we might see here. But I can think of a few scenarios that it might influence a town as well. It doesn't have to be declare an emergency. Like, you don't have to declare a full emergency for someone to get PDAP assistance. For instance, if a tornado only hit one farmyard, they could get help through PDAP by the REIV in that case, declaring that it does still have to come through the municipality, but it doesn't have to, it can be just kind of a one-off situation.
So, I was just thinking, so if we had a fire that took out a block, we would be able to just declare the state for the block.
Yeah, that's what I understood. So there were some things, and I mean, having been through the 2010 flood, I did see, some things that of course the municipality did at the time. It was geared quite a bit through administration, but there's some preparedness things, like they had one of the same fellows that was here for our emergency preparedness workshop was there. And so I think their main thing was being prepared, and if you're prepared kind of ahead of time, know what to do.
So that 72-hour disaster kit, or just,
Yeah, there's that, yeah, they were just encouraging being prepared for something, knowing what to do when something hits, and who does what. And of course, anyone that took that, was it 200?
100,
100, 200 course that they were here to do. We kind of got that, you're in charge until someone of
So the chain of command
The
for-
chain of command, and they briefly talked on that, but, often we're first, and so what to do. So it was a little bit about that, and then of course the afternoon was geared to administration. But it was, I'm happy I went. It was good. And then I attended the fire heat meeting for Tina on the 16th, and then the photo op with the truck last night. And then I have one thing I would like to just comment. I read the letter to the editor in the paper, and it was talking about taxes, which is always, nah. But I'd just like to say, for anyone that is wondering, our budget meetings are coming up, and you can sit in on them if you want. It's very transparent. The letter was encouraging us to be fiscally responsible, which I believe we have been. We've been working really hard on that. And the other thing was tax fairness, and that's something that we're certainly working on by having some of the numbers given to us so that we can look at maybe adjusting our base tax to help offset that, to look at fairness. I mean, they're never under any of the structures that we see in taxation throughout the world. Nothing's fair. But to try to work on that. So if anyone's curious, we're having meetings, so you're welcome to
attend.
To weigh in.
I agree with you, and I like that, because the previous council and this council, we are dedicated into looking at the fairness. We talked differently about closing that gap between residential and commercial. And one of the things that we did ask administration to do is also look at that base tax and what the services is and what that provides, so that we're understanding it, and then also the public is understanding it too, because I think they just think we put on a base tax because it's another tax. Well, it isn't. There's some of the services, there's 6 things that we're in charge of, and those things need to be covered. And how do we do it? If anybody's looking, it's taxes, fees, and levies. And so we've been very, very prudent over the last almost 3 years of looking at what we're doing to make sure that the taxes are fair, and we're not spending outrageous amounts. We're trying to make it feasible and be responsible for the money that is being spent. Thank you for that. So myself, well, I'm always busy, but I'm gonna keep this short. Absolutely, you can.
So this is sort of to us and possibly to Len. So he spoke about the arena board and having, no one checking around the summer. Is our agreement with them year-round?
Yes.
Would they be able to sublet it to someone that wanted to do a summer something there?
Yes.
So that might be something to take to them and see if someone's interested in, even if it was something so simple as rollerblading or whatever, that would just offset and be that person checking in on the building once in a while if they were able to sublet it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Since our last meeting, what have I done? Okay. So on the 13th, we did a little bit of course, we as council had met and went over the official community plan and what that looked like. So Barry and I met with Mauricio and we went through page by page of all the stuff that we needed. One of the conversations, I know Mauricio was a little taken aback, but again, I just put it point blank, this is how council was feeling. That again, our administration and our staff are having to do a lot of it. Council in the hours that they had to put into this has done a lot of hours and trying to do something that we've paid somebody else to do. So I think they got the picture. They are gonna work on that. They're gonna put it into the formatted position. And what we see is what we see. They know we want to see that the punctuation and all the pictures and all the rest of the stuff is coming to us in a format that we are able to accept the final draft. Oh my goodness. Of course, I attended the committee meeting also did do the stuff at the fire hall yesterday. I would like to just say thank you to both committees because, when we started this venture way back when, it was a struggle. And over the last little bit, we've come together and we've come to see the value of working together as two communities. And one of the things that we've changed in our language and how we speak is the town and the RM, the town and the RM. You don't very much hear around this council table the town or the RM. It's a community. So, and that's what this project has done. That fire hall has made us a community. So when we're looking at these things, it was great to see a fire truck. It's like, for the amount of it, I'm like, it's just a fire truck. But, when you're looking at it, it's just a fire truck. But the thing that it's going to do is that fire truck is now increase the value of our fleet. We know that has increased our lifespan of that fleet and how the new regulations are coming down. So again, we've got a little bit of breathing room, but we still need to be looking at our next, what we need to replace. We know we've got a pumper truck and we need the rest of the stuff that it does because, I think it was 14 or 15 years old was the newest vehicle that we had. We have one that is an 89 and one is 1990. And we're putting people out there to save lives and communities and buildings. And so I'm actually very happy of the job that they've done. And that's not just that. There's agreements that are being done. There's the changing over of just one municipality of funding something, they're now being self-sufficient, and that comes from the hard work between two communities. And so I'm very happy for that. I think there's some other meetings that were held within Barry and I that I'll talk about with council. There isn't anything urgent or anything that's coming through there, just some information. I know we have a meeting coming up on the 28th, and I think that is a closed meeting. That is going to be through the budget, because that's just from the last, is it closed or open?
No, it's open.
It is open? Okay, so on the 28th at 6 to 9 is our next meeting that's coming through, just a budget review. And the budget review isn't going forward in 2025. There will be some things with the capital, but most of it is where we ended up in 2024 to bring us up to information on how we did and where we landed at, and so we can make some decisions in 2025. I'll be away from the 29th, 30th, and 31st for a SUMA meeting in Regina, and yeah, I think that's all I have. So with that, perfect. I think I